found The Naked Truth. Lively discussions about business, marketing, and personal development for small business owners. No hype, just help.
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
Oh, look at you, you're all the way to the side there. ¿Qué pasó? What is going on?
In the same spot?
No, yeah, you are. No, it's not you. It's
Yeah,
this.
that's weird.
Yeah, it's
All right.
Here you
okay.
are. You're a little bigger. There we go. Ta-da! So it is Happy Friday. Happy Friday. How was your week?
Good week. Good week. Like so much cool stuff in my mentorship program this week. And we're working on copywriting this month. So that was really cool. We got some cool stuff
Yeah.
happening. What
Adil
else?
was actually asking about your copywriting thing.
Yeah, I've had some people inquire. Yeah, so that's the other nice thing is I was so focused on doing stuff, and then people are asking me questions. I'm like, what? Because I'm so focused on my founders launch group
Right.
that I was like, oh, well, I should pull other people in, and how would that look? And
Why? Yeah, right? Like, let's do some
Yeah.
marketing while we're doing some marketing. Right?
yeah, it's crazy. So,
Yeah.
what about you? Was your week good?
Fantastic. I feel so accomplished. I finished yesterday. So, for those of you who don't know, in 2 weeks, I'm launching a 5-day challenge where you'll be able to finish 5 things like your website, your email, live streaming, repurposing, all that stuff. 5 days to finishing 5 things in 5 minutes. I'm going to show you all my hacks. And so yesterday I finally finished the layout of what's going to happen every day and the website, and it's SSL, and I pixelated it with Facebook Pixel and Google Pixel and all that stuff. So, and I got tons of prizes from different software and, programs and stuff like that, and great speakers. So I'm super excited. I feel accomplished. I was like, oh my God, this is
Good.
done.
Well, it sounds like you should feel accomplished.
Right?
That's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
It took me forever to kind of like create the itinerary, what's going to go into it. That was hard.
One of the biggest challenges of being a small business owner, and I have struggled with this for a long time, even though I know it, is acquiring or improving the skill of knowing how much time it actually takes to create something.
Yeah.
I'm getting better all the time, but traditionally over the course of my 16 years in business for myself, I have been quite not good at that.
Yeah.
Like I would go, oh, I can do that in a day, and it would take like 4 days. Or I'd be like, I could do that in a week, and it would take 2.5 weeks of really working, and over time just getting better at. That's a real thing of like, how do you really get into the vision in your head of what it takes to build something or create something? That's a challenge.
Yeah. And Jason T. Weiser from our Google Plus days is watching us. Jason, hop in here. Everybody, be the naked truth. Let's hang
Come
out
on
together. Hang out
Tell
with
us something good.
Yeah. So, my challenge was like, so I'm building this training, right? And there's so much. And I was like, how do I not overwhelm and still give you a sense of accomplishment? Right? So that was my challenge. Like, okay, what needs to come and how are the breaks going to happen? And like, there's going to be work sessions. So how long does the work session need to be? And what are you going to work on so that you feel like, oh my God, I did something and I'm moving forward, but I'm not stuck in the tech. So that has been a big, like how much mindset. I'm very much of like one of these people who are like, okay, let's do it. And I was like, okay, there's some mindset that needs to happen, right? And like, why am I doing this? And how I this way? And what's the overall arch? Like whatever we were. This is so not like for you as a teacher, it's like, it's easy. Okay, here's a lesson plan. Right?
No, it still isn't though. It's even with all that formal training, it still is a challenge. Is when you get into the minutia of helping people learn things, there's always more to it than you like. We human beings just take for granted how we learn things without even always being consciously aware of what we're learning.
Right.
And so then when you go to teach it to someone else, you have to be consciously aware of it. And it's amazing how much that can throw you when, when you go, how do you do this? You go, oh, well, you just do it. And then you start thinking, you go, no, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, and I was like, ugh, you know what? Like, I'm going to show you guys how to build a website in 5 minutes. And you know this, right, Paul? 5 minutes, you got a website, right? But just the fact that you have a professional looking website in 5 minutes doesn't mean you have a website in 5 minutes, right? So I'm like, okay, so what is it? Like, you're going to have the website. Now what? Right? And how do we do it so it's not overwhelming and we're not only focusing on that, you know, moving this from here and here and not getting stuck and all these little things. I was like, oh. So if you remember Michael Roderick, our little brilliant man that came in with the magic trick, I'm going to be sitting with him on Monday, just making sure that everything is like, you know,
nice,
the way it needs to be. But I want to say hi to Jason. Jason, we haven't seen you in like since the Google Plus days. How you doing?
I know. How's it going?
It's awesome. It's really good to see you.
Well, I've been following this little show that you two have been doing. I think you're doing a great job. It's fun to kind of turn it on and set it off to the side. I know I'm one of those people that kind of watches but doesn't comment or likes. But
now here you are, and you go on the Wheel of Names. So that's pretty nice.
That is super cool. That is super cool. And you are in
which we need to talk about because I don't even know what we're giving away today.
I don't know.
We might want to work on that.
I don't know. That has been a challenge for us, guys. Like, let's be honest about it, right? Let's be transparent and honest. That has been a challenge because we're not really sure what to give every week. And if you recall last week, I was trying to kind of pull it in and do a little bit of,
we're not getting rid of the Wheel of Names. Don't even start going there. I'll smash this computer. I'll smash.
I was trying to get away from the Wheel of Names and do something a little bit, you know.
We can find things. I'm decluttering right now. I'll just start shipping. I got a pressure cooker out here. Someone can start doing canning. I'll ship someone a pressure cooker. I got a boot warmer over there. I got stuff. We'll just start. It'll be like a yard sale you didn't know you went to.
Used, secondhand, really good condition. Jason, you're in Europe, right?
I am, yeah. Yep, over here.
In Europe, or if you're okay saying.
Yeah, no problem. Ukraine.
Wow.
Yeah.
How's it was working for you?
Well, it's fantastic. Love it over here. Yeah, we came over for spring break for a short, kind of like a Gilligan's Island type thing, just a 3-hour tour, and that was on March 13th. 15th they closed the borders, and we've been here ever since. But we're coming home soon. So
holy moly!
Yeah, but it's fun. Don't. It's not a bad thing at all. We actually like it. We love that we have this wonderful extended vacation in Europe. So, no complaints at all.
That is so cool. Good for you for having such a great attitude about it. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of marketing, right? And the business and the industry that we're in. If you got internet, and we got over here. I got 100 gig fiber optic. As opposed to what I have in Michigan. So, yeah, it's fast and cheap.
Dude, I am pissed off because I'm going to Israel and I'm like, where in this country can I find, 500 megabytes? And I'm like, it's the capital tech, right? No fast internet. And right there in Ukraine, on the
Ukraine is killing it in tech, man. I don't know what it is. Their cell phones, their internet. I mean, they kill it in that department. Blowing America out of the water, frankly. But anyway.
Wow.
What's the corona, situation over there?
The which one?
The COVID, the crisis.
How's the pandemic stuff playing out there?
Well, I mean, it's it's similar to how it is around the world. I mean, we're not the borders are closed to Ukrainians. So I was laughing or kind of joking with my wife. I said, we got it bad from both ways if we want to get into the EU because they don't want Americans or Ukrainians. So, we can't really pretend to be either one. So.
It's funny. But you want to come back to the States like as soon as the border is open?
You're longing for Michigan. Come on.
Yeah, well, it's fishing season. So,
you know why? Why, Jason? Because you can't get Vernors in the Ukraine. That's why.
Absolutely. And that's the truth, too. That is absolutely the truth. Yep, you gotta love my good old ginger ale, Michigan ginger ale. Darn tootin'.
That's awesome.
This is such an insider joke because I'm like.
Well, it's my mom is real. My mother is from Michigan, and this is one of those like everyone's got subcultural things, right? And when I was a kid, there was this technically it's everyone, you think of it as a ginger ale. Technically they say it's a ginger soda, and it's called Vernors. And back when they used to make it, they used to actually put it in oak casks like you do with wine and stuff, right? And so it gave it this incredibly strong flavor. And when I was a kid, because we lived in New Hampshire, my mom, when we'd go out to visit my grandparents, my mom would bring back like a case of Vernors, and you were not allowed to drink it unless you were on death's door. It was part of like, it was only for when you felt sick. And so when you'd get sick or something, you got to have a can of Vernors. And when you'd hold it up, it was so fizzy and all that ginger and oak, it would make you cough, but yet you loved it. You all at the same time. Yeah. Now they changed the recipe, and like, it doesn't do that anymore. It's still good. But
they took the Coke out of Coca-Cola. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's that kind of, they're always trying to find ways to make it, cheaper and more profitable. And so I don't think now, it's like nowadays, I've told you before, I'm into wine. Like when they want a wine to be more woody, they literally just take wood chips and like put it in the wine so that it, all these chips will impart the wood flavor better than the wine sitting in a oak cask for longer. So it's stuff like that. Like I don't know
out and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know anymore. Again, I don't know. And Vernors probably doesn't want you to know. They want you to think it's still the old romantic. No, we've got like an entire team of like Norwegians building casks and
Right.
That's a shame. It's really funny, like all those like grandma medicine, right?
Yeah.
That's working, that's actually working, and we're not using it anymore because we got real medicine. Yeah, it's interesting. Did you see the interview with Trevor Noah? No, Trevor Noah. What's his name? The other guy, Jon Stewart, and then the crazy interviewer Howard Stern.
No.
So there was a really, really, really good segment where Jon Stewart is talking about how Trevor Noah is doing better than he is. And Howard Stern is like, come on, you're talking yourself down. And he's like, no, I'm just acknowledging the transformation that happened through the show. And he goes like, at the beginning, because the networks are owned by white rich men, then it was, they run everything and everything runs on interns. And he goes like, so the interns work for free, and the only people who could afford to not get paid for 3 months were kids of influential, of affluent families. And so it kind of kept the entire environment in this, not by thinking about this, but everybody that can be in show business were people who had the money and had the time to intern and then graduate and get there. And then he goes like, we had meetings and we said, oh, we don't have a woman, right? So let's bring in a woman. And so they had one woman in there. And they're like, oh, we don't have black people. Hey, let's bring in a black person. And he goes like, now there was so much pressure on these people because now they felt like they were representing. And he goes like, but when we changed that and we started paying interns, now we can have really other people in there who are fantastic, who can come in, get paid, right, for lower, and then rise to the top. And that changed the entire environment of broadcasting. And that's where Trevor Noah can now take over Jon Stewart. And I was like, how interesting is that? Because it has like all these layers of like, you don't even realize what the white privilege is and how this creates the environment of where, other people cannot come in, and really what the difference is between like, okay, let's bring in a woman, and now what it means to be just one woman among all these people. And I was like, wow, so if we can like notice that and apply that to everything else, where we're removing the barriers of access, not because like, oh, you're a black person, you need to be here, or we're women, you need to have a woman, or we need to have a gay person, right? But we're kind of like changing how they can access things, that can really change the entire environment, like, society, and how we're working on it.
Yeah, that's cool.
You should watch it. It's on my YouTube thing. So,
okay. All right.
Have either of you ever used interns in your businesses?
I have.
No, I tried to, Jason, and here I live in New Hampshire, and I reached out to my local universities and tried to go through their system for feeding interns, and they refused to put me in the system because I work from home.
Oh.
And they were like, we're not going to send interns to someone's private residence. And I was like, I don't need them to come to my private residence. I just need them to do the work. Like, they can work from home. And they're like, yeah, but we don't know that you would do that for sure. So I was like, okay. Like,
Did
like,
you,
what are
Jason?
gonna-
What about you, Ifat?
I have, and I found that I am not a good mentor because I get
Good for you
frustrated.
for
I'm like, come on.
recognizing that.
What's that?
I said, good for you for recognizing that.
Yeah, when it's a job thing, I want the job done, and I don't have the patience to kind of teach you because by the time I teach you, I get it done. Right.
That's one of the things that more appropriate for the show. I mean, with regard to marketing and business and whatnot. When you were just talking about interns, I have a pretty strict rule not to use interns or volunteers for that matter. I started my web development company working largely with nonprofits and churches who would manage their, websites and their marketing efforts by using volunteers from the church, the local secretary, whomever. And so then the leader of the organization or the pastor would say, hey, I really need this thing done. And they're like, yeah, well, I really don't have time to get that thing done. Right. So I've always had a rule where if I'm not paying you, if I need it done, if it's a job that has to get done, I'm going to pay you for it. Because then there's accountability. Then it's like working for your family, right?
Right.
I mean, it's very easy to tell them, oh yeah, I can't show up this weekend. Well, my roof is off. You said you were going to be here and I ripped my roof off, but now there's no shingles on,
Right.
That's an awesome metaphor. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
So you've never had interns or volunteers, Jason?
No, I have.
Oh, you have.
That's
but you
why.
paid them.
That's why I won't use them. Because I've tried that. And I've tried very low cost offshore assistants. And I know they work for some industries, they work for some business models, but it's just the productivity levels. If you're going to hire and you're going to staff, pay. And there were times when I would bring young college students in were graduating in marketing, and I thought, like you said, if I bring them in under your wing, try to be a good mentor. There's a lot of information I could teach you, train you, and raise you up. But I too found out that I'm not as good of a mentor. In fact, I had a couple people that came in, worked for me, and I paid them to work for me because, I don't allow people to work for free. And then 2-3 months into it, they realized, oh, wow, you've taught us so much information. We're going to go off on our own and start our own little company.
Yeah.
Sure enough, they do. They quit. I'm like, well, I just paid you all this money to train you.
Right.
Now you go off on your own. 3 months, 4 months later, they call me back and say, hey, is my position still?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Oh, no, it's not. It's been filled.
I've had coaching clients before that's been their big, they come and they say, I'm so stressed. I don't have enough time. There's not enough time in the day. And so eventually you get through and it gets to the point where clearly they should be bringing someone on board. And so I say that. And the most common thing they say is the fear of what you just said. They go, well, I spend all this time training them. And then once they know all the stuff, they're going to leave me. And I'm like, yep, they might. But if they do, they still don't know everything they need to know. Like, so either they're going to come back to you later and say, I screwed up. Can I come back and work with you? I said, or they're just going to leave and they're going to fail. And it's not like you're, the most basic fear is, oh, well, then I'm training my competition, right? Like it's like, no, because most of them don't have what it takes to do what you've done, to grit it out and grind it out long haul. I see that a lot.
So the biggest question is like, how do you train people to stay, right? Like,
you don't train them to stay. That's the big. You don't train them to stay. You build relationships in which they're so happy working with you that they want to stay. And so this goes back to the old. I always use the Southwest model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is you create a culture, and this is hard to do, right? Like you create a culture in which people just like and value the workspace that they just don't want to leave. And what's hard is that's the vetting process, right? So how do you vet people and figure out, are they really just completely focused on making money, which we all need to focus on making money, right? But are they so focused on making money that they don't care about being part of a bigger mission, that they don't care about working in collaborative relationships? That's got to become part of the vetting process. And you got to get ahead of it. And that's another skill, right? Like human beings, we're just built to be reactive, not proactive. Like it's such a difficult skill for most people to develop, is thinking ahead, looking ahead, planning ahead, all that stuff.
After working with a client in a really not good culture, I think it takes two, right? So it is making the employee or contractor realize, that they're not only focused on the money, but they want to be part of the team. But it also has to do a lot with the leadership and how you're interacting with them, and whether you're a good boss or not a good boss. Like I work with someone who goes like, it's my company. I'm like, okay, it's your company. You go. I'm out.
Well, this is I hesitate to say it because it's not really popular, but it is appropriate for the conversation. And I have a personal expression that I need employees that need me more than I need them. Now, to be very careful on that, I love all my staff, and we love them. I make sure to foster the environment that they love, and they enjoy, they appreciate, they have stability, they have the things that they want. They need this job. I've had people that have worked for me that don't need the job as badly as I needed them. So you get in a position where you end up compromising the work and saying, okay, I guess we could push that deadline out through the weekend because I understand you've got a vacation, you've got a family event. No, they have to need this job. They have to know there's consequence if they don't meet the deadline, meet the job description, accomplish the task. There's going to be a consequence, whatever that consequence is. I mean, of course, we don't want to say, oh, you're fired. We don't want to be that kind of a strong fisted, but they have to understand 9 to 5, 40 hour, you know what I mean? There has to be that sense of, I really need this job. So I'm going to work really hard, but not only do I need it, I love it. Much like what you're saying, Paul.
So how do you do that for your employees? How do you do that for your employees?
Well, transparency. I don't hide anything from the staff, really. I mean, even financial stuff that probably should be maybe hidden. I let them know, here's where we are, team. Here's what's going on. And I'm, we have a Slack channel that's very active, that's very water cooler-esque. And that's really been awesome. Constantly talking to each other, celebrating each other's birthdays, celebrating anniversaries, giving Christmas bonuses, giving, profit sharing, if you will, internally. And it means a lot to the staff to know that they are appreciated. So they not only love the work, but it's I want to give them a job that it would make them, when they come to work, even on the days that they don't want to be here, even on those Fridays that they'd rather be out boating, instead they're going to be like, I really want this job because I don't think I could find a better job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what can I do to make this the best job that's available for them? Right.
Right. Which is really interesting, right? Because it's different from one person to another, right? For one person, it's like, a little bonus. For another person is a, public shout out. For another person, it's like, you remembered my birthday. So it's very interesting, right? Like it's not like you can do just one thing and everybody will be happy.
So that's like the, pretty mainstream book now is the book on, I can't remember the author right now, of course, even though I just said it's mainstream, Love Languages, right? Because everyone's got different love languages. And so how you love your coworkers is going to be different from person to person. The other thing I think that's really germane to what Jason's talking about is if you read Angela Duckworth's book on grit, there's this really cool part of the book where she talks about a study they did that looked at how people view their work life. And her coolest example in it was she interviewed a guy who was a garbage collector. And he had, like, when he took the assessment that they gave, like, all of his ratings were like fantastic. Like, you would have thought the guy worked at, I don't know, some incredible posh job. And they pulled him in for an extra talk, and they were like, did you give such high scores to being a garbage man? And he encapsulated, like, for this chapter, the whole thing of like, when you're a worker, either you have a job, or you have a career, or you have a calling. Right. And so there's way too many people out there who just have a job. Right. And so typically we would think being a garbage man is just a job that some people have to work because it's all they can do. Right. It's all they could get their hands on at the time. But this guy was a beautiful example of, he went right beyond that to the next level would be like, no, I have a job that I really see as a career, and I'm invested in that career because it's part of my identity. And so that's your next step up. Right.
So your identity is a garbage man?
Well, no, if I'm saying he went past this next step. But if you went from job to career,
Yeah.
people who are really focused on their careers, it's usually because they wrap it into their identity, and so there's more investment for them. But then this garbage man, he went to the top level, which is a calling, and he didn't wrap being a garbage man into his identity, but what he did do was he went beyond that, and he had an altruistic view of how being a garbage man contributed to society.
Yeah, so he keeps
And so
the-
he looked at it, and when they asked him, he said, "Did you ever stop to think about what would happen if all the garbage men stopped working one day?" He's like, society would collapse. He's
Right,
like,
right.
what we do is essential
Yeah.
to the maintenance of a functioning civilization.
Yeah.
And so he felt like it was a life mission. It was his way of contributing to society, not just I go pick up garbage every day.
Right.
And so because he viewed it that way, he was genuinely invested. He appreciated the work. He was all in, and he was happy to do it. And so like that's again when you try to think about ways of vetting interns or employees, right? Like that's one of you can build in assessments that look at like if you came to work for me, would it just be a job because you need a job right now? Would it be a phase of getting you into a career, or do you have a sense of mission? Would doing this be part of a greater mission that you believe is part of fulfilling a calling? And which one they, can articulate tells you a huge amount about how they're going to approach the work.
A very good friend of mine is a garbage man, and when you say folds into his identity, he doesn't identify as a garbage man. What he identifies as a loyal husband who provides for his wife, a father who teaches his children the value
Right.
of hard work, making
Right.
it, getting to work early every morning, and regardless of the quality of the work or the kind of the work, regardless of what other people are going to say about him or do, he's out there, he's doing it, he's bringing out, and that's what a man, he would say.
Right.
That's
exactly.
the identity,
So-
I believe, that you're talking about.
Think back to Monday. Remember Monday we had that list of things that non-Americans think are weird about Americans.
Yeah.
One of the top ones was that Americans almost always ask a person when they meet them, "What do
Right,
you
what
do?"
Yep.
Right? That's
Yeah,
that thing. It's
yeah.
like we so commonly in America, what I do is part of who I am, right? And
Yeah.
so people like what Jason's describing, the person he knows, they're the exception, not the rule. They really are.
Which is really interesting to what's happening right now, right? Because if you lose your job, who are you? Right? And there's a
Yeah.
lot of people. And I read an article the other day that a third of unemployed people are now getting more money, 200% more than they would have gotten if they were employed. And to me, it's kind of like, ooh, socialism.
But here's the
I
thing.
know.
That's not going to fix anything. All that's
No,
going to do is help keep the economy going. Again, what it comes down to is like there are people making six figures that are miserable, right?
Yeah,
Like that's what we have to look at as we transition more and more to where robots are doing the jobs that people used to do, and we have more and more people who are just going to be looking for a way to earn money. It's like it's not enough to just earn money. One of the oversimplified examples I always go back. I'm like Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was known all over the world as the best golfer in the world. He had like $1 gajillion through his winnings and his endorsement deals with Nike and stuff. And he still ended up a sex addict, ruined his marriage, and, lost his career crumbled for a while and everything. And you think, how does that happen? The guy had everything. Yeah, because he wasn't getting his needs met. Like he had lots of good things happening, but he wasn't getting his needs met. If you're not getting your needs met, it doesn't matter how much money you make.
Speaking of
doesn't.
needs, let's spin this one.
We need
Ready?
to spin the wheel.
We need to spin this. Ba, ba, ba. Jason!
Oh, how funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's rigged.
Well,
And you too can win time spin the wheel if you just sign on and show up on the show.
That's the second time we've had that happen. Remember the week when it was Crizelle's first time?
yes.
And she won that week too. Oh, that's so
Yep,
cool.
that is super awesome. So I guess the trick is hop on in,
Yeah,
be part of the conversation,
There's some kind of magnetic.
and the internet will do its thing for you.
That's
So
right.
the sad thing, Jason, is that Paul and I need to figure out what this week winning is. But since we know you, it'll be easy to reach out.
Jason, have you read that book, Grit by Angela Duckworth?
I haven't. No.
I'm gonna send it to you. That's what you're gonna. I'm gonna send it to you. It's
Right
one of my
on.
favorite books. It's
Right
great
on.
for people like us to think about the stuff she covers in that book. I'm gonna mail you a copy.
Right on.
And all you have to do is put your address right now in the comments.
Yeah. Put my address and phone number in the Facebook right there, and I'll. Okay,
Luckily, we're not
I'll
in
do it.
Facebook, so this is
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
right? There's
Right
no
there,
Facebook
yeah.
here, so it's all kind of like private.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Curiously, though, that's where I keep seeing you is over on Facebook. Although I know your objection to the platform or your.
Remember, but now that I'm,
Concern of
I'm
the
kind of like a
platform.
Google refugee now. So
Yeah.
Fuck, did you see my post the other day? I deleted my TikTok. I deleted my Instagram.
Oh, look at that! I mean, I'm outside.
I had 2 Instagram accounts, gone. TikTok, gone.
Wait,
I'm
so
cleaning house.
Wait, Instagram, but not Facebook. So, ¿qué pasó?
I'm still on Facebook for now, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to reduce and be more thoughtful about my usage, and I'm evaluating. But I basically just cut I cut Twitter a couple of years ago, so I'm down to. And what I did do on Facebook was on Facebook I had a group, a page, and a profile, and another page, and I had 2 groups, 2 pages, and a profile. And now I cut it down, so all I have is a profile and 1 page. That's it.
Wow.
So you don't use social media as a marketer. Social media is not one of your big channels.
I do, but what I realized, Jason, was I wasn't using it very effectively. And I was like, if I'm not going to use it effectively, why use it at all? And so I started thinking about it. I thought I wasn't putting in the time I really needed to on Instagram. Never mind for 1 channel, and I had 2. And I wasn't doing it well with TikTok. I started out hot at first, and then I had stopped. And so I was like, you know what? I have consistently done great with YouTube, and I do some good things with Facebook. And so I was like, all right, I'm cutting it down to that. I'm going to focus on how I can bring people value with YouTube and keep the existing relationships that I really value on Facebook for now, and keep those healthy and well, and the rest of it can.
Yeah.
So
Just yesterday, I had a big consulting session with one of our top clients discussing this very thing. And I've got a huge rant that I would love to go on, but I don't know that it's,
Can
how
we
much
do
time
that
you guys
Monday?
have for it all.
Will
But
will you join us Monday? We can do it
come back.
Monday.
if I'm around Monday, we'll talk. We'll talk offline.
We'll
but,
we can
but
fit.
maybe.
Yeah, we can fit in.
But I'll take one snippet out of that conversation that I had, and I'll TLDR it real quickly. And that is, as a web developer, I strongly believe your website needs to be the anchor of your marketing efforts.
Yes.
It is the number one marketing channel and asset that you have, and that social should drive things to your marketing or to your website. But if you're bootstrapping and you're a small company and you're out there buying all these $97 products on how to be the best Instagrammer and Pinterester out there, you're spreading your resources, your personal bootstrap resources so thin
Yes.
that you're not really using those tools to drive the traffic back to the website. And then if you are getting traffic back to the website, are they landing on a page that's going to convert them? Because we spent so much time on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all this social channels chatting it up that when somebody finally does commit and click over to your website and they land there, like, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
I don't see my big red button. What is the thing that I'm supposed to take action on? And that drives me nuts.
I this is where you and I are like completely in agreement. I always say, right after the Google Plus thing, don't build your home on rented properties, right? Like enough with that. Use social to drive traffic. And you're right. People use websites like a billboard, and it's not a billboard. It's supposed to do something, right? Yeah. And so I love what you're saying. And there's no right channel, right? Like there's no right social channel. Just pick one. We were in a platform that most people couldn't care less about, and we built our entire business from it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, just pick one and
Cool.
be great at one. Yeah. And with that, our Friday happy hour is gone. It's done. I know. We had Laura King say hi, great on Facebook, and Ahmed Sheikh. I believe as well. You guys were on the wheel, but we can get to the wheel next week. Next week we'll have very interesting things. We're actually going to talk about a book on Thursday, Paul. What do you mean? What do you say about that?
We're gonna after 3 weeks of not, that'll
After
be
3
fun.
weeks.
It'll be fun. It'll be a nice switch.
We'll talk about a book. We'll have interesting stuff for you. So hop on in Monday, 11/1/2. We'll see you then.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. Have a good weekend.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's episode, come back and spend more time with us. You could be on the broadcast sharing your thoughts. We hang out live Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern at www.bethenaked.truth.com/live.